Mr. Heng Chee, how?
Mr. Chairman, Defence Minister Dr. Ng Hen spoke yesterday about the challenging landscape in which the SAF would have to operate. Our national servicemen forms the bulk of our defence and security force, and national service, or NS, is the bedrock of our national defence, giving us that firm foundation for Singapore's survival, security, and success. For the past 55 years, generations of Singaporean males have served our country through national service and had done the duty. As we commemorate 55 years of NS this year, it is timely for us to reaffirm our commitment toward ensuring that our NS system remains relevant to the needs of the SAF in protecting our country, and relevant to our national servicemen. Dr. Ng outlined the key changes arising from the NS Review Committee, or NSRC's work. Allow me now to provide more details. The NSRC's work and the changes it proposed can be grouped into three broad thrusts. First, how to maximize the contributions of national servicemen. Second, improving the NS experience. And third, enhancing support and recognition. Let me start with the first thrust, maximizing contributions. As all members of the House know, our birth rates are low. And what this then translates into would be smaller NS cohorts, 18 years hence. And in this context, the SAF have to find different ways to continue to optimize the deployment of every resource and every national serviceman in order that our defense remains robust. Mr. Muhammad Fahmi bin Aliman and Mr. Lim Biao Chuan asked for updates on the medical classification system review and functional assessments. Dr. Ng had given the overall view yesterday. I will elaborate on that. The SAF has implemented functional assessments for our full-time national servicemen, or NSFs, to complement our existing medical screening processes. Functional assessment allows us to assess the NSF's abilities to perform physical tasks required for the job in order to better match them to vocations with greater precision, and to enable them to discharge their duties well and safely. These assessments have been developed in consultation with external physiotherapy specialists alongside SAF physiotherapists from our Center of Excellence for Soldier Performance. They have also been trialed prior to implementation to ensure that the outcomes would be effective discharge of duties, effectiveness in the outcomes that the SAF seeks from the protection angle, and at the same time, safety of our servicemen. Our trial on functional assessments for the transport operator vocation in 2021 has improved our deployment process and enabled more NSFs to be safely deployed as transport operators. Riding on this success, we have implemented functional assessment for pre-enlistees with orthopedic conditions. These tests will be administered by trained SAF physiotherapists when the pre-enlistees report for medical screening, according to established protocols. These pre-enlistees will then be deployed to the relevant vocations according to their abilities. At the same time, to further expand deployment opportunities, the SAF has continued to redesign existing jobs for our NSFs. For instance, take the example of the redesign of the medic role. Leveraging advances in medical technology and efforts to define the physical demands required for each specific role, And servicemen of varying physical capabilities can now be deployed as medics. This approach has enabled the SAF to maximize our servicemen's potential to contribute to the SAF's operational requirements. Mr. Chairman, I've been speaking of optimizing deployments from the angle of physical fitness and job requirements. But there's also another angle which is equally important, and this concerns the skills, knowledge, and expertise of our servicemen. Our population may be small, but it is increasingly well educated and well skilled. Further conflicts will not be solely decided by force numbers and force sizes, though these are obviously relevant, but it would also be influenced to an increasing extent by technology and know-how. The SAF should increasingly grow and tap on the expertise of our national servicemen. Mr. Chong Ki-Hiong asked about MINDEF's plans for work-learn schemes. We have established work-learn schemes for several critical skills-based SAF vocations. Eligible NSFs can join these schemes to receive accredited training and education from institutes of higher learning while performing their NS roles. The servicemen benefit from these qualifications and the work experience gained. The SAF is also able to tap on these servicemen's expertise for a sustained period of time. The first work-learn scheme was introduced in 2018. 4 years on, there are now 130 servicemen enrolling in work-learn schemes every year, serving as cyber specialists as well as Air Force and Army technicians. In the years ahead, we expect to expand the work-learn schemes to cover more roles and vocations based on the SAF's operational requirements. At steady state in 2025, we expect 500 servicemen to enroll in work-learn schemes every year. This year, the SAF will introduce another 2 work-learn schemes. One is the digital work-learn scheme for eligible servicemen to pursue undergraduate degrees in areas such as computer engineering and data science. The other is a work-study diploma for supply supervisors. Our efforts to optimize expertise-based deployment also cover operationally ready NS or ORNS. A good number of our NS men acquire expertise through their civilian careers, and these are relevant to the SAF. A key priority for the SAF is to identify these NS men during ORNS and deploy or redeploy them where expertise can be put to best use. Last year, I spoke about the establishment of the Expertise Deployment Center within the SAF. With dedicated resources devoted to identifying and redeploying NS men with relevant expertise, the number of expertise-based redeployments has gone up considerably. One of our redeployed NS men is ME4A Jeremy Yip. Jeremy Yip is a lawyer specializing in dispute resolution, and he wanted to contribute further with the skills and experience that he has in the role as a lawyer. ME4A Jeremy, who had served as an Air Force engineer, was redeployed in 2021 and now provides specialist legal advice to commanders as part of SAF operations. Mr. Seah Kian Peng asked how expertise-based redeployment would be expanded. I would like to highlight a key change arising from the NSRC's recommendations. When we launched the Expertise Conversion Scheme, or ECS, in 2014, the landscape was one where expert roles tended to be at the officer level. 8 years on, we have expanded beyond that, and we have expanded expertise deployment across all levels, including roles that are assumed by warrant officers, specialists, and enlistees. And for this reason, we will also rename the ECS, we will rename the Expertise Conversion Program into the Enhanced Expertise Deployment Scheme. While we invest significant effort to optimize deployment, we must not forget that a strong SAF is contingent upon the commitment and morale of its fighting force. And so this brings me to the second thrust of the NSRC's work, which is that of improving the NS experience. A number of members asked about this. At the core of that experience is the NS man, and we therefore designed our processes around that so that this NS man can be very well focused for his training, knowing that the organization is there behind him, cares about him, doing everything to make sure that his contributions are maximized for the protection of this country and taking care of his safety and his well-being. Earlier, yesterday, Dr. Ng touched on our plans to automate the make-up pay claims system. At present, the filing of such claims is done manually by NS men and their employers. Later this year, MINDEF will introduce an automated system which draws on income-related information from the CPF board and IRAS to compute make-up pay amounts. NS men and their employers will be provided the opportunity to review the computed amounts to see if they agree. And if no objections are raised, the amount will then be paid out to them automatically. For the bulk of NS men and their employers, this greatly simplifies the process and saves time. Those who believe that the computed amounts are not up to date, they can certainly submit additional information for recalculation so that the right amounts are paid out. Today, some NS men who mostly from the lower income segments may receive income from informal job roles, gig economy employment, or other payments such as allowances and incentives, which may not be captured in CPF boards or IRAS's databases. As mentioned by Dr. Ng, along with automating make-up pay computation, we will be implementing a base NS pay. Starting later this year, all NS men will receive at least $1,600 for every month of in-camp training that they are required to attend. For in-camp training of shorter duration, the allowance will be prorated. Aside from automating make-up pay claims and base NS pay, allow me now to also talk about two other initiatives which will improve our servicemen's NS experience. Mr. Chong Ki-Hyong asked about how MINDEF would leverage technology to improve NS processes. I'm pleased to announce that the first phase of the One NS platform will be rolled out later this year. This will replace the existing NS portal and will provide a more seamless experience for our servicemen. Our national servicemen perform several transactions with MINDEF SAF throughout their NS journey. The idea is to centralize these transactions and essential NS services onto the One NS platform and render it more accessible via a single mobile application or a revamped web portal. For a start, NS men can look forward to enhanced call-up and deferment e-services to facilitate preparation for ICT. Other e-services will be rolled out subsequently and progressively. MINDEF has also collaborated with the Smart Nation Digital Government Group to digitally deliver NS recognition benefits to our national servicemen. Since November last year, MINDEF has been disbursing the NS Excellence Awards and celebratory gifts in the form of e-credits that can be accessed via Live SG. In the past, recipients received the benefits in the form of physical vouchers. With this change, they are now able to receive and redeem these credits conveniently via the use of their mobile devices. The credits can be used at both online and brick-and-mortar shops that accept payment by PayNow QR. Thus far, through surveys, we find that 97% of surveyed users have reported a satisfaction with this improvement. Come April this year, servicemen will also be able to use their credits with merchants that accept the NETS QR. And with this change, an even broader range of merchants will be able to benefit, including those who operate in heartland shops and hawkers. And obviously, with this greater array of merchants and merchandise, then it would also be a value add to our NS men. MINDEF will move our other cash and voucher-based recognition schemes, such as the cash payments for NS Home, onto LiveSG. By mid-2022, MINDEF and MHA will disburse NS recognition benefits to 100,000 national servicemen via LiveSG every year. Quite apart from the convenience that this will bring to our NS men, this will also greatly contribute to our national drive to foster e-payments, adoption, and to go green and paperless. Our national servicemen who have received NS recognition benefits via LiveSG mobile application will receive SMS notifications that these credits have gone into their account. And we are very conscious that in sending out these SMS notifications, we should not either give chance to scams or be mistaken as scams, and we will ensure that our SMSs will have no clickable links. This brings to the third thrust of the NSRC's work, which is that of enhancing recognition and support for our national servicemen. Our national servicemen contribute to defense during 2 years of national servicemen and at every subsequent in-camp training. There is sacrifice, both they, as well as we hear from members, the support from their families as well. We appreciate this greatly. Ms. Rachel Ong asked about recognition initiatives for our national servicemen. As mentioned by Defense Minister, we will enhance the NS Home Awards to better express our appreciation to our national servicemen and their loved ones. We will disburse an additional $2,000 in cash to each national serviceman cumulatively across the 3 existing NS Home milestones, comprising $1,000 in cash at the first milestone and $500 in cash each at the second and third milestones. Our national servicemen will now receive at least $6,000 at the end of their full-time national service and at least $5,500 at the midpoint and at the completion of their ORNS journey. The additional $2,000 cash will be paid out as credits into our national servicemen's LiveSG mobile application. This complements the current NS Home payment, of which the bulk is disbursed into the national servicemen's CPF accounts for long-term financial needs. And as I explained earlier, these credits can be used at merchants, ranging from those that operate on e-commerce platforms to brick-and-mortar shops as well. The change will benefit 54,000 SAF and home team servicemen every year. Beyond recognition, we also want to provide our servicemen and their families with peace of mind when they participate in NS activities. Since 2016, MINDEF and MHA have been purchasing group term life and group personal accident core insurance coverage for all MINDEF and MHA servicemen for a sum assured of $150,000 each. We have reviewed this, and come 2023, we will increase the coverage to $300,000 each. This will help ensure that the financial support and protection we accord our national servicemen remains relevant and adequate. Mr. Chairman, the NSRC has completed its reviews, which have been significant in strengthening the NS system and the SAF's operational effectiveness. And we want to thank the co-chairs and members of the committee for the good work. Aside from the changes Defense Minister and I have outlined, the NSRC has made 3 other broad recommendations which we will continue to follow up on. Mr. Henry Quek asked about this. We will continue to work on, first, enhancing our training and leadership development programs for national servicemen. Second, better equipping our NSFs with transferable skills and preparing them for that transition to studies or to work. And third, better supporting pre-enlistees as they balance their NS-related obligations with personal pursuits. I shall now move to speak about another topic which is critical, training safety. As we continue to enhance the NS system, our safety practices on the ground must also continue to be robust. The SAF therefore places a very strong emphasis on strengthening safety culture through regular audits and inspections, by leveraging technology, and by constantly reminding both commanders and men of the importance to internalize the safety culture itself. Look after yourself, look after one another. Dr. Wan Rizal asked about the third external review panel on SAF safety, or ERPSS, which MINDEF SAF started last year. The panel was established to review the SAF safety management systems and to make recommendations to improve safety in the SAF. A positive observation made by the panel was the continual enhancements to the safety management system at our BMTC, or Basic Military Training Center, where a slew of safety and mental health support measures have been implemented to better help recruits transit from civilian life into military life. The panel also noted the efforts to scaffold safety training across the leadership schools to ensure that our commanders understand and will conduct training safely. The ERPSS will continue to highlight best practices from industry during their continuing visits to our ground units. Aside from the ERPSS, we have internally the SAF Inspector General's Office. And the SAF Inspector General's Office has commenced its second two-year audit cycle of all SAF formations. Mr. Donwy asked about this. Compared to the first audit cycles, commanders and servicemen were observed to have taken even more ownership in upholding safety practices and displayed more awareness towards potential safety hazards. Going forward, the SAF will continue to sustain our emphasis on safety policies and processes, and to ensure that safety lessons will be passed on even as we see the turnover of servicemen, because it is the nature of our NS system that you have cohorts who come in and train and they may leave. But we must ensure that the safety culture is entrenched and it is practiced and it is improved, and we will do so. Dr. Wan Rizal also asked how MINDEF harnesses technology and digitalization to further strengthen training safety. We are developing an enterprise safety information system for commanders to disseminate information on safety trends and lessons across the SAF. This will provide better awareness of safety situations and make safety promotion more targeted, and therefore reduce the risk and likelihood of incidents recurring elsewhere within the SAF from whatever the original spot of occurrence was. However, as I said, safety is not just the responsibility of commanders. Every soldier must play his role too. The Safe Guardian mobile application, which I spoke about at COS 2020, has played a significant role in enabling our servicemen to report safety hazards and near misses in a timely manner. Since its rollout to our active servicemen in June last year, we have seen a 20% increase in open reports being filed. The Safe Guardian mobile application has empowered our servicemen to take greater ownership of their own safety and the safety of those around them. Besides open reporting, we are also encouraged that over 37,000 users have viewed the Safe Guardian's in-application safety information thus far. Mr. Lim Biao Chuan asked about other recent efforts to enhance training safety. MINDEF SAF will be collaborating with the DSO and the National University of Singapore to establish the Heat Resilience and Performance Center in the middle of this year. We recognize that rising ambient temperatures due to climate change will increasingly impact the well-being of our servicemen and the effectiveness of our training and operations. And therefore, we look ahead and to see what is it that we need to do in order to sustain our ability to train safely but effectively and upkeep the operational readiness. This center will conduct forward-looking research on heat mitigation strategies and develop more fundamental approaches to prevent heat injury in the SAF. Mr. Chairman, as we celebrate 55 years of NS this year, we all recognize that NS remains the cornerstone of our national defense and security. We must continue to build on previous generations' efforts and dedication to the protection of this country and the strengthening of our NS system. This is a work that will never cease, and the NSRC's recommendations will add to this effort and to put us in good stead as we continue on this journey to ensure that Singapore will forever be secure and free. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.